Whether it's making financial, personal, ethical, or health decisions, we all come to a point in our life's journey where we need to make a major change to effectively build a life we can be proud of. Tonight, I am joined by two amazing entrepreneurs and coaches who are using their platform to empower, elevate, and help transform lives. Welcome to Creative Monday Discussion. I am your host, Mervin Budram, and we are creatives transforming lives. Welcome back to Creative Monday Discussion. I am your host, Mervin Budram, and I will be with you for the next hour. Tonight's show is brought to you courtesy of TAS Belize Limited, Formosa Cafe Belize, Coaching with Melanie, The Art Shack, Belmopan, YWCA, TNC, and Budram Solutions. We are so excited, guys, to be with you another week. Thank you all for tuning in to Creative Monday Discussion and making the show your Monday night show. We want to hear from you where you're tuned in from. So if wherever you're locked in, use the comment section. I want to say greetings to my friend Barrett Moritz from New York City tuning in tonight. And tonight's show is going to be amazing. I'm excited for the guests that we have for you guys. It's going to be great. We're going to talk with Melanie Escalante. She is a vision and strategy coach. We're going to talk to Kenishia as well from out of Jamaica. And she's also in the financial education space. And tonight's show is going to be awesome as we're going to talk about how to build a life that we are proud of. But before we do that, we just want to take a quick commercial break. And when we get back, we're going to jump right into our first guest.
Hey guys, Armando here, and I got some fantastic news to share with you. For the first time on television, the national channel brings to you the 2020 Esports PUBG Tournament. This is a 3-week event kicking off with Zone 1 on October 27th, leading to the tournament finals live on the national channel on November 14th. On this date, numerous teams will come together with one goal. Champions will rise. Who will be the last player standing? Tune in for the 2020 PUBG Mobile Tournament every Tuesday and Thursday starting October 27th, live on the national channel and the national channel's Facebook page.
Welcome back again. And as I mentioned, we are excited for tonight's topic. We're talking about building a life that we can be proud of. And this is such a dear topic to me. This is part of what I've been going through. A few years back, I made a decision to look at my life, evaluate, assess, and say, hey, some stuff needs to change. And I had to make some choices. And I actually reached out to a friend of mine. I knew her from way back. I reached out to her and I said, you know what, this is what's going on in my life. This is where I'm at. I feel stuck and I need help. And that person is Melanie Escalante. She's a visionary and strategy coach. And I've been working with her for the past few years, just kind of streamlining the vision, streamlining the direction and what I'm passionate about and how to execute that. So it's an honor and a privilege for me to introduce my first guest tonight, Miss Melanie Escalante. I just want to welcome Melanie to the screen. Hi, Melanie. How are you doing?
Merv, I'm really good, thanks. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I'm excited to be here. I wanted to pick up just on that ad that we heard just then. The young guy talks about champions will rise. And that's what we want to talk about today.
Exactly.
Helping people to be the champion of their life and helping them to rise.
Exactly, and I agree. And it's right in a time right now in the world where things are so uncertain. A lot of people feel stuck, and in difficult time, leaders rise, leaders step forward, and champions rise. So that's such a key point. So I just want to start off by, I know you and I know who you are, but I want my guests to know who you are. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, well, thanks, Murph. You already said, I'm working in the vision and strategy space. I'm an encourager. I'm a supporter of people. I want to help people achieve their vision. I've done that over the years when I've been working in business, when I've been just at the clerical type level until rising into the management level. And I've basically been helping people to achieve their vision and work their vision as part of what I do. What I like about what I'm doing now, which I've been doing for the last 2.5 years, is I realize that it's natural for me to be an encourager of people. It's natural for me to get excited about their vision. And how could I rather help them define it? How could I help them identify what it is, and then how to get there, and why they want to get there. And, I came across some coaching training, and so I was serious about it. I certified and then went into business for myself, making it known that I'm here to help people in that space. So if you're struggling with your vision, if you don't even know what it is, but you want to talk about it and identify it, then I can help people do that.
Yeah, that's good. Mel, I want to go back to something you said just now, working the vision and working it. I've been thinking a lot about that. There's a scripture in the Bible that says faith without works is dead. And the importance of working a vision and help that vision to come to life. What's your thoughts on steps that it takes to really work a vision?
Well, I think first of all, it's really knowing for yourself what it is, and having clarity on that. I think it's about it being bigger than you, something greater than yourself, something that's going to make a difference, not just for yourself, but for other people as well. And in that, we would call it becoming a compelling vision, even because it's your own impelling, in other words, coming from within and drawing you to it and causing you then to get up and take action to do something about it. So once you're clear on what it is, I think you really want to know why you're doing it as well. And when you have your purpose and your vision, then you start to look at, well, what are the steps to get there? And who do I need to be in order to get there? And do I need to develop some things that I don't already have? Do I need to develop some skill sets, some character traits? And, what do I believe in? Who am I going to be throughout this process? What are my values throughout the process? Those are really the 4 foundational things: vision, purpose, mission, values. And then, of course, you're going to come up with a strategy. That's what we're talking about today as well, vision and strategy. But the beautiful thing about having a vision is oftentimes, even within a strategy that we develop for ourselves, new things come into because our eyes are open, we can see more, and we tend to then know what action to take, and we see it even if we didn't think about it ourselves.
Mel, you went upside down there just now.
I'm sorry.
You're back. It's good. For me, I've experienced that process, and I must say, when the vision becomes clear, it everything starts to just line up. Everything it becomes easier. You know the things that you need to kind of just let go, and the things that you need to hone in on. And so I love that process. And you call yourself a coach. What's from what you do, what's the difference between coaching and counseling? Because I know a lot of people are familiar with counseling. What's the difference between that coaching process and counseling process in what you do?
Yeah, first of all, Merv, coaching is really taking people from one level of success to another level of success. Coaching is about knowing what you want and kind of working on the steps to get there. Counseling is more identifying that you have some issues or some problems that you need to understand, and often involves then going into history, going into past. So coaching is more kind of futuristic than past oriented, both obviously supporting somebody to move into the space of leading their best life.
Yeah, and I want to say to anyone out there, if you need any of that, you need counseling or coaching or both, because in my life I've received both, and both have been very helpful in me moving forward, getting rid of maybe old patterns of the past or things that got me stuck, and then also helping me to grab a hold of a vision that pulls me forward and drives me forward, right? But if you are in need of that, there's folks like Melanie, there's other people out there who are available to assist you. And I want to say, reach out and invest in your personal development, invest in yourself, because at the end of the day, we want to be the best version of ourselves so that we can help others move forward and become the best version that they can be. So Melanie, what I wanted to ask next, looking in your life, we're talking about building a life that we are proud of. What's one thing or several things that you are most proud of in your life currently?
Merv, on a personal level, I would say what I'm proud of the most is my family situation. My children, they've grown into young adults who are doing well, and to be able, and who are kind, who are considerate of others. And I think for any parent that is a blessing. And on the professional level, I would say that almost every day in the work that I do now, I have the opportunity to be proud of what I do. Whenever one of my clients clearly defines their vision, and it becomes, you can see it becomes a part of who they are, and they're excited about engaging in life and creating strategies. Whenever that happens, that's a proud moment. Not necessarily proud, I guess, but an exciting moment, a fulfilling moment,
Yeah. And I can imagine you have a lot of those. For me, I get excited when I see the things that we discuss. We would be in a session and we would just have conversation about things that we want to see and things that I want to see in my life. I step out of those sessions, I go talk to my wife, and then boom, things just start to fall in place. One of the things that I love about the coaching session is that I get to listen to myself. I get to hear myself process, because many times we're in spaces and circles where, there's so many voices and there's so many opinions, and we don't give ourselves the time to just hear our own thoughts and become comfortable with our own thoughts. And so, that's one of the things from the coaching session. One of my big takeaways that I get to actually listen to my thoughts and realize, hey, they're not bad thoughts, and they're actually great thoughts and great vision, and this have the potential to change someone's lives. How, for you, what are some of the things that you think about daily when you have to engage individuals like myself and all these different people who have big dreams and vision? Like, how do you prepare yourself for that? Because you're help carrying it as well.
Yeah. I think that's a great question, actually, because there's not a whole lot that I can do, quite honestly, except to be present. And so to give myself the space in order to be able to be present for each client when they come. And I will tell you, when I first was training to be a coach, I had imagined that I would be coaching back to back, that I would be, having hourly sessions or half-hourly sessions and having one client after the other. But 3 clients in a day with an hour session each is really more than enough, because I put my full self into that space with the client. And I'm not doing a lot of the talking. It's not the space for me to talk, but it's the space for me to listen. It's a space for me to be a sounding board. It's a space for me to be provide a trusting space, so that clients will feel free and safe to explore their ideas, and know that within that they will be supported, and that it's a judgment-free space. And so really that's more than anything, I would say, I had to learn that, and that's why it's good to go to school to certify yourself in something like this. You had to learn to talk less and to listen more, and in that listening, then ask meaningful questions. Ask questions that are really going to cause a client to go deep, to so that they can clearly understand what it is that they want and what's holding them back, and what they've got going for them that's going to help them to get where they want to be.
It's good. And for those who just tuned in, we are This is the Creative Money Discussion Show. I'm your host, Mervin Budram, and we're talking to Melanie Escalante. She's a vision and strategy coach. And I want to remind you, if you have questions, comments, you want to use our comment section below so that you can join the conversation. We want to hear from you. We want to get feedback from you. Maybe there's something, there's a question you might have, and you've been wondering, okay, if I talk to a coach, what would they say about this? This is a perfect opportunity to get some free consultation in a sense, right? But use the comment section below to ask questions. So Melanie, just back to you. What I wanted to ask you, you've given some input on this as well, but what choice did you have to make to get you the results you're currently getting and having in your life?
Well, you said it earlier, Merv. It's really about making a decision to invest in yourself. You know, when I made that decision to become certified, that wasn't a cheap decision. You know, it's a significant investment to enroll at the coaching school that I enrolled at. And in addition to that, I continue to invest to be a member of the International Coaching Federation and working on my accreditation with the Coaching Federation. It means buying books and you know, reading other people's perspectives, kind of reading it with a curiosity mindset, you know, to what to learn from it and what would they be thinking and how would they have been thinking. So those are some of the things that I think of, Merv.
Very good. You know, and Mel, you know, I was reading an article today and it really jumped out to me. And one of the things it was talking about was that whole concept of investing and paying the price and hard work and hard work and paying the price gets us to play in the game. We get on the court, but in order to win, there's more things that we need to do in order to win. And, you know, in this current climate, there's a lot of free resource and there's a lot of free things out there, which is great. But at some point, you need to be able to spend on yourself to go further, to go deeper, and to go beyond. You know, one of the things that I was listening, I think it was Rory Vader. I think he was saying it, or Vaden. Sorry if I got his name wrong, but he said, you know, many times to go where we need to go, we need to get beyond that financial comfort zone and go and invest more than we normally would be comfortable to invest, to step into the space that we need to step into, right? And so I'm sure not to say that for those who are watching and you feel stuck or you feel like, hey, I've been in this space for a while, what are you willing to invest? How much are you willing to invest? And that's time, that's energy, that's dedication. You know, in our session, Mel, one of the things that you brought to me was that whole thing of accountability on the plan. Like, we had set plans and say, hey, we need to get this done by this time, and you held me accountable. I mean, I didn't make all of them. There was a lot of plans and there was a lot of change, but talk to us a little bit about the importance of that accountability process in the transformational journey that we have to go on.
Yeah, well, I will say, Merv, that the coaching relationship is the prerogative of the client. And so in your case, you had asked for some support with accountability. And indeed, a coach can offer accountability structure that really makes a difference in people's lives. In fact, most people thrive within an accountability structure. Most people tend to allow themselves excuses and can talk themselves out of something. Whereas when they've committed to a third party, an independent third party like a coach, they tend to come back to the next session having done what they said they would have done a week ago or 2 weeks ago, depending on when the last session was. And so accountability is very important. And even if you don't ask the coach to be accountable, just by expressing to an independent third party aloud and committing to yourself in front of them, because it's your prerogative, it's your choice about the strategy that you're putting in place, the plan that you're making. That is not the role of the coach at all. But to help you create that plan. And then if you want the support to be held accountable to the plan, then you can get that support. But I also say that, as we've talked about before, and I think I alluded to it earlier in our discussion this evening, that other forces tend to come at play. In fact, I wrote a post today about that, picking up on a quote from a guy called Matthew Kelly, an author. And he says, be bold, and mighty forces will come to your aid. And, you know, in the sessions that we've had, when you have come up with bold ideas, when you've come up with challenges for yourself to take on and do, you've walked out not necessarily knowing how that's going to happen. And you come back a week later or a month later and you say, you never guess what happened. And the mighty forces came to your aid.
Yeah, so true. And actually, this show is a reality of that. This present show, the Creative Money Discussion, is a reality of those ideas and stepping on it. We never imagined that we would be doing the show. And I just want to also want to welcome, I never said it earlier, apologies, but I want to welcome our guests on TNC. We want to thank TNC for carrying the show. We're live on TV here in Belize, and we're grateful. And that's one of those mighty force that came in. We said, hey, one of the goals we said we want to go live on TV with the show, and boom, right there, things started to align itself, right? And so that's the power of getting your vision, or getting clear on your vision, setting a goal, and then stepping forward with that. So guys, thank you. We're not done with Melanie as yet, but we want to take a quick commercial break. We want to thank our sponsors for partnering us. And if you want to find out how you can become a sponsor, our contact information is on the screen. But we want to thank Belize Limited, Formosa Cafe, Coaching with Melanie, who's on the screen with us tonight, and Art Shack, Belmopan, YWCA, TNC, and Budram Solutions. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we get back, we're going to continue this discussion with Melanie. And I know there's some questions coming in, so we want to take those questions when we come back. So yeah, let's take a quick break.
2013, with the assistance of the European Union and the government of Belize, the YWCA Belize opened its YWCA National Resource Center for Enterprise and Development Facility in the St. Anne's Complex in Independence Park in the capital of Belize, Belmopan. Courses such as sewing, cake decorating, culinary arts, computer, cosmetology, barbering, massage, and palliative care and English as a second language are offered. Classes run in 13 weeks long sessions, with intakes occurring for the periods January to March, April to June, and September to December every year for persons 15 years and older. For children under the age of 15, a 1-month-long summer program is available, usually commencing in mid-July. The YWCA NRCED invites all to visit its offices to find out more.
Welcome back to Creative Monday Discussion Show. I'm your host, Mervin Budram, and we are talking to Melanie Escalante, a vision and strategy coach. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, Belize Limited, Formosa Cafe, Coaching with Melanie, the Art Shack, Belmopan, YWCA, TNC, and Budram Solutions. And so we still have Melanie here on the line, and so we're just going to continue the discussion with her. I know some questions are coming in, so can we get the first question, Melanie? We have a question that came in for you. A question: Does or can a person's vision change as life situation arise, or are there strategies that can be employed to keep going towards the original vision? Very good question.
Thanks for the question. Yeah, you know, it depends on what we're talking about here, because I would say, of course, depending on the stage you're at life, you may see something as a vision in your 20s that changes in your 30s or in your 40s, and on and on. And you can have a vision for anything. You can have a vision for life. You could have a vision for a project. You could have a vision for your business. And it's likely as you grow, as circumstances change, as people that you interact with change, as you learn more, that vision will change. And so it's definitely something to review on a regular basis, let's say once every few years, to see how's that going. I mean, if you have a vision and a strategy, your strategy is taking you towards that vision. Sometimes maybe that vision will be manifested and you'll actually reach that point, and then you'll want to grow a new vision and develop a new strategy. And so I would say be open to what the process reveals.
Awesome. And I have a personal story with that. Like when I started out as a young entrepreneur, I was in my early 20s. I was the young kid who just wanted to conquer the mountain. So my vision was simple: to be the best in Belize and to be the best in this area. And I even went as far as put that on when we had our vision statement, to be the top digital marketing company in this region. And as I grew and I got exposed, and I also start talking with Melanie, what really came out was a vision that I now feel so passionate about, and we're pursuing as a company, our Belize company, which is the heart of entrepreneurial innovation. Like we realize everything that we do, it circulates that, it's around that, and we're pursuing that. And same way with our other company, Budram Solutions, and the whole people that know God and express Him freely. And one of the things that I've learned about vision, that it has to be memorable and portable. It has to be something that you can hold on to and run with it, right? And so Melanie, I do want to ask, how do you, and then you've already shared a lot along this line, but how are you? Well, let me reword this question differently. Not how are you using your gift, but how important is someone's gifting in the transformational journey in people's life? Because our giftings play a big role in the area that we give ourselves to.
It's interesting you should ask that question, because I was even thinking earlier about, what if you don't have a vision, or you're not sure what that vision is, and what's the advice at that point? And I was thinking that, when I look back on my life, I think the only thing I could say is, if you're not really sure about where you're going, be the best version of yourself, be your best self today, and do your best today. And the way will reveal itself for you through that process, that you keep growing, you keep giving everything that you have, and your gift will then even manifest. So talking about the gift, I found that over the years, when because I kind of grew like that, I didn't have a vision in the first instance. Nobody talked to me about vision and the importance of vision, and so I missed that whole aspect to life for many years. But what I did do was bring my best self to the table, and what that did for me was people noticed, and people offered me other jobs, and people commented to me about how much they appreciated my effort, my initiative, taking an interest, buying into their vision, that sort of thing, and even commented things like, wish we were making more money so that we could pay you more, because we really appreciate the value that you bring to the table. So that was just in that space of not really knowing where I was going, but still giving my best on a day-to-day basis. And it was in that space that my gift revealed itself to me, which was this being an encourager of people, being a supporter of people, being able to listen and really hear what somebody is saying, and helping them to be valued in that and affirmed in that, So, and like I told you earlier, I didn't really know what coaching was. I hadn't heard of it until I was in my late 40s. And so, when I did, I realized that, oh my goodness, that's the space that I need to be in. That's my gifting. That's where I should be working, And so you asked me what role it plays, and this is it. You get to, because we work together, you get to experience that on a pretty consistent basis. That sometimes I'm able to see things you're not able to see, because I'm really hearing what you're saying, and so I'm able to ask you a question that allows you to get some greater insight on something that maybe you had just overlooked or hadn't really thought very much about before. and you get to realize how significant that is in your process of how you engage in business or how you engage your clients or your friends, etc. And so, I just say, do your best, allow your gift to reveal itself if you don't know what it is. And if you do know what it is, then 100% encourage you to work in that space.
Very good. Very good. Thanks, Mel. One of the things I used to tell myself a lot when I was younger was, I'm just going to jump on the ship and start to sail. And I'm going to trust God to make sure that if I'm going in the right direction, he's going to blow the wind and take me in the right direction, right? And just that was part of utilizing the gift and starting on the journey. And we just need to start and get moving, and then the giftings, the vision will become clear as we're journeying along. So Mel, I want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for your insight. Guys, we're not finished with Melanie yet. We're going to bring her back on. We have our other guest that joined us, and so we're going to bring her on the screen, and we're going to get to know her a little bit more. And so thank you so much, Melanie, for being with us tonight. Our next guest hails from Jamaica. She's an entrepreneur, very passionate about financial education, helping women, helping people building their best financial life possible. So I'm very excited to introduce to you guys Miss Kenishia Mais. Am I saying it correct? I think your mic is muted.
Yes.
There you go.
Kenishia Mais.
Mais. Oh, there you go. My apologies on that. Welcome, Kenishia. It's good that you made it. We have you here, and as I mentioned, Kenishia is tuned in from Jamaica. What time is it over there? We had a little time zone glitch here.
I'm actually in the US right now.
You're in the US. Okay.
I'm actually in Texas right now.
Okay. Awesome. Very good. Very good. Well, welcome to the Creative Monday Discussion Show. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
A Jamaican entrepreneur, certified financial educator. I love personal finance. I love helping people build that financial foundation. I especially love working with young adults, and I especially love working with young women. So that's pretty much what I've been doing for the past, I want to say 7 years unofficially, 5 years as a company. So ThrivingDollars turned 5 on September 7th.
Nice.
So that's what we've been doing for the past 5 years, just basically building financial literacy in Jamaica. Like when I started, it wasn't a thing. No one knew what it was. And now it's a more common conversation. So I'm happy to see the progress that has been made in the 5 years that we've been in existence.
Very good. Very good. What made you step into the financial education space?
Well, in the education space of it, it's kind of tricky, right? So I always grew up with, I always saw my parents save. They had this tall wooden pan that they would put coins in, so I kind of thought it was normal to save. I didn't know that they were actually hard money, and this was only the savings that they had. But because it normalized that for me early, it was a habit that I pretty much continued with throughout adulthood. So I taught myself how to budget, how to save. I was doing my back to school very early on when I was like 14, 15, taking care of my own back to school stuff, because I would save money throughout the semester to have enough money to send myself back to school for September. So I kind of just always had the habit of it. In terms of ThrivingDollars becoming a company, so that was tricky. I knew I wanted to do some things in personal finance because I had a rough patch. Like I had 30 in my financial life, just because I always had that solid financial foundation. Like I was always the one saving and I wasn't in debt. But then because you're the person who has money, everyone comes to you for money. So I started to experience the burden of that and had a moment where I kind of just snapped, and I had a large amount of money saved, and I just blew through within 6 months. It took me a few years to accumulate, and within 6 months, I just spent it all, and then I was broke, and then I was in debt, and then I was like confused because I'm coming from up here, and now I'm like up here. So that was very humbling, and I reached out to my mentor like after a year and a half, maybe of just struggling. I reached out to my mentor and I asked him to teach me how to be rich. And he gave me an audio this flash drive with like 1 million audiobooks, and I was annoyed at first because I'm like, I'm trying to get rich. I want step 1, step 2 rich.
Yeah.
Giving me homework. I don't want homework. I want groceries. So I eventually started to listen to the audiobooks when I was just at a very low point. And one of the audiobooks I listened to was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, love that book.
Excellent book. And I remember in the book, he was talking about making money work for you. And I was so confused because I had never heard that before in my life. So I reached out to my mentor and I asked him, what does this mean? And he basically broke down some stuff for me, like, oh, this is if you're investing, this is if you're doing that. And I was like, how do I invest? Because at the time, financial information in Jamaica was literally non-existent. You couldn't just type things into Google. I know you type things into Google, the ThrivingDollars website will pop up among a few others, but at the time it didn't exist. So I was having to piece together information from calling all the institutions, and I called every financial institution in Jamaica. I sat on the phone with every single one of them. Then I was piecing together information from the US markets and kind of applying it to the Jamaican context and, kind of just seeing how it would fit, modifying. And that's how I taught myself how to invest in the stock market there. That's how I taught myself how to start my own retirement fund and how to do the calculation, et cetera, et cetera. And so that kind of, I started to blog about it as I was learning, I was teaching. So that was in 2013. And when I left my final corporate job in 2014, so I've been self-employed since then to present day. I wanted to do stuff in personal finance, but nothing I tried was working. And I mean, everything was just crumbling and I just couldn't understand it. So I started an e-commerce boutique by accident. And I have a whole
by accident.
By accident, I'm telling you, I have a whole journey on on my personal blog or the $3,000 blog, I believe, kind of outlining that. But I essentially ordered some earrings. I didn't get them. I thought I was scammed. I was like, these people in Asia, these people in China, they stole my money. Granted, it was only $6, but when you're broke, $6 means a lot, right?
I agree.
Exactly, $6. So eventually I was so depressed, and my mentor, he paid me. He's like, I'm going to pay you to leave the house. I don't care where you go, but I need you out of the house. And I'm broke, so this is free money. I am going to go somewhere to get this free money, sir. So I went to my cousin's house, and we walked around the road to my grandma's house, and there was a package there for me. And I was so confused, like, why do I have a package here? And they were the earrings that I thought I never got. Apparently, I had put the wrong address, so they had been sitting for weeks. And when I opened the package, there were like 8 extra pairs of earrings. Granted, I'm like, well, I'll just resell these, no big deal. And I happened to just sell the first pair on the way back home that night. And then as I'm continuing my journey home, I'm like, if I sold that one that easy, what about these others, And then I had to do that I got from a mentor. So I sold the rest of the earrings, and I kind of just used that to bootstrap a whole e-commerce business. Like, first off, inventory. I taught myself how to code the e-commerce website. I was just a mad scientist, and I ran that business close to 2 years. And I eventually started to feel I didn't enjoy it, except like interacting with customers. I didn't actually enjoy it. I knew I wanted to do personal finance, but I just didn't know how to make it happen. So what I started to do was just to put aside money to transition, because I didn't want to be that broke again. Like, I needed to have that cushion that I never created for myself before I left my corporate job. So I started to put aside money I'll say the majority of 2015 was me just putting away money to try to figure out. It wasn't money to start the business. It was money to just give myself time to figure out what I wanted to do without having to worry about, I need to do something right now to make money, and that would take me out of my focus,
I love how the entrepreneur, because we've been talking especially from October, we've been talking about that entrepreneurial journey, and as you're talking, it's really unpacking the realities of what entrepreneurs need to do. So it sounds glamorous at times, but as we walk through it, it's and that's where we're talking to Melanie earlier, that's why it's so important of having that clear vision that keeps us on track. let's do this, guys. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we're not finished with Miss Kenishia. We will actually bring Kenishia and Melanie on the screen, because we have some questions that both of them we want to get in. And if you have your questions that you want to submit, use our comment section to submit questions for them. We have a financial expert, I will call her an expert, just from your journey, but a financial educator and coach. We also have a vision and strategy coach with us, and both of those are so key pillars in building a life that we can be proud of. So let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have both guests on the screen with us.
People daily seek to connect to something meaningful, something eternal, something they can invest their time, energy, and money into.
Make a connection to Belize for all the graphic designs and advertising needs. Connect to Belize for all your web designs and branding needs.
Connect to Belize. We use graphic art, videos, websites, and social platforms to connect businesses, organizations, and individuals to what's most valuable, people. If you're imagining your information on the web, on a poster or video, TAS will make it happen. So go ahead and plan your wedding. We'll capture it for you. Document the things you want to remember, and we'll compile it for you. Write your songs, and we'll record you. Don't stop there. Go bigger. Paint it, and we'll billboard it. Brochure it, banner it, and postcard it. Business card, bookmark, and catalog it. If it sounds like too much, business package it. Because we do that too, and we've got you. We are committed in heart and mind. And what we do it well.
Make a connection to Belize for all the graphic designs and advertising needs. Connect to Belize for all your web designs and branding needs.
Welcome back to Creative Money Discussion Show. You're tuned in here. We're actually on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We want to say hello to all our YouTube viewers. Thank you guys for tuning in. Facebook viewers, thank you for tuning in, as well as those tuning in on TNC, the national channel right here in Belize. We have two amazing guests with us, and we're going to bring them on the screen. We're going to have our Q&A section with them. And if you have questions that you want to submit, use our comment section to submit those questions, and let's hear from them. And so we have about 15 minutes, and so I want to ask our guests, even as we're going through the questions, let's be as brief as possible with our answer. Yet we want to give the meat, right? But we want to make sure that we're giving our audience value. We also want to make sure that we can give them enough to inspire them, to motivate them, and help them on their transformational journey. So I just want to throw this out there, and any one of you can start first. But from your journey and your life experience, your business, what you've been doing, what would you say are 2 keys to success? Any one of you can go first.
I'd definitely say that you need to have some amount of grit, because things aren't going to always work the way how you expect them to. But you
I agree.
Stick with something, and in addition to sticking with something and having grit, you also need to learn how to pivot. So you can still get to the end goal, taking a different route. To just know when it's time for you to change direction to get to the desired end goal.
That's good. Melanie,
and I have to say vision, right? I can't not say that. And so I would say it's defining your vision, knowing what you want. Let's even remove the word vision, but just, as Kenishia said, goals, on a practical level, just knowing what you want. And then it's more than knowing what you want. I think picking up on the grit word is take action, commit to it and take action. And then I would say enjoy whatever results from that. Enjoy the growth. If sometimes we don't achieve the goal, sometimes something comes in the way and we realize it's not going to happen. But we've still benefited from the process. And so enjoy that process, grow, stretch, network, pick up new relationships. There's lots to be thankful for in that process.
It's good. It's good. I agree. A question came in for Miss Kenishia. Can we get that question up? Question for Miss Mais. How did you transition to being the CEO of ThrivingDollars?
Okay, so while I was doing the e-commerce stuff, I mentioned that in 2015, I spent most of that year kind of just putting money aside. So I didn't want to put any money into the business, if you will. I wanted to have money to pay bills and figure out how I was going to build the business. And I reached out to a few people for help with different things, and they kind of were giving me ideas. Like one young lady, I mentioned that I wanted a logo in exchange for helping her with her finances, and she was like, okay, send me your coaching packages. And I was like, what is happening? So I Googled it, found out it was a thing, and that's really how I started to generate some revenue through financial coaching. So I practiced on a few friends, they referred people, and then I just took some years kind of refining that skill and building $1,000 into a company through that revenue source.
Awesome. Very nice. You know, for both of you, you're working with people, you're helping people get unstuck in essence, whether it's true they're stuck with their finance, or they're stuck in their life journey, or they're towards their goals. What would you say keeps people stuck, and how can they take steps to get unstuck?
So
Mel, you want to take that one first?
Well, Kenishia is doing it for me. Go ahead, Kenishia.
Okay.
It's definitely the mind more so than anything, because even calls with clients, logically they know what they're supposed to be doing, right? But they don't follow through because they start getting lost in thoughts. So it's definitely your mind that keeps you stuck more so than any. Your mind is what keeps you in a certain action or prevents you from certain actions. So it's definitely your mind that keeps you stuck more so than anything else.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that now?
Yes, Merv. Just want to pick up on that, saying that indeed your mindsets, fears, thought patterns, those things are definitely what keep you back. But what would help you get past that then is talking about it and testing the mindset, testing it for truth, testing the thought pattern. So we would do that in coaching, and I would say 100%, of course, I recommend get a coach. It doesn't have to be me, any coach, because that gives you that, as I mentioned earlier, safe, confidential space, judgment-free space to be able to pull these things apart, put them on the table, unpack them, we like to say in coaching. And then in the unpacking process, you get to really think about whether that's true or not. And even if it is true, do you want to hold on to it and let it hold you back? And then you can start to, when you clear all of that out, then you can start to put the steps in place. And then, as Kenishia said, you got to take the action.
Yeah. Both of you guys shared in earlier on just different things that show that you had to make some choices to get the result you're getting, to go through the transformational process. How did you guard your heart as you made those steps towards transformation and being the best version of yourself currently?
I would want to say for me, it's twofold. I want to think about my life as I was growing up. Along the way, I kind of always knew that what I knew was right for me, I had to do. And so I was able to push past the naysayers or the thoughts that come up in my mind about competence or whatever. I'm not saying that I haven't been held back or held myself back through my mindsets, etc. But eventually you get to the point where enough is enough, and then you have that strength to take the action that you need to take anyway. So I would just say, though, really important to get somebody that you can trust to talk to really work through it and encourage you, because there's a huge difference in being able to move forward when somebody is cheering you on, when somebody is standing by your side, even if it's in the background, rather than just kind of going it alone without any support. But in some cases, you just have to go without any support because you know what's the right thing to do. And, trust that gut, because it usually steers you well. And if it steers you in a place where you have to learn a tough lesson, well, learn the lesson, pick yourself up and move on and carry on again.
Very good. Very good. A question came in for you guys. So can we get that up? What difference do you see between coaching or educating financial? Either gender, is there a clear difference between genders?
Clear difference, very clear difference. the men that I coach tend to be more decisive, whereas the women need a little bit more coaxing and a little bit more nurturing. Like, no, this is the right decision. Like, tend to have to be a little bit more gentler with them. With the men, it's just like, this is what we're doing, and they're like, okay, and it's
Yeah.
let's go.
Any thoughts on that one, Mel?
Not so much in my experience, because the bottom line is the vision itself is what's compelling. And so if we can get to the point where we identify the vision, then both from the male and the female perspective, I find that my clients thrive.
Yeah. I've been thinking about this one, and I wanted to ask both of you, and I've been thinking about this for myself as well. But if you had to give advice to your 17-year-old self, what would it be?
I would tell her to learn how to cook, because you're not going to be at 18 like you thought you would, you know? Really fast. But yeah, I really just tell her to trust herself more.
Yeah.
You know, there are things that you want to pursue that seem impossible because it's never been done before in your entire bloodline. So you're pushing for norms that they don't exist within your family or within your circle. So it seems abnormal to people, and they're going to talk you down. But I want you to trust yourself and pursue those things more, because at the end of the day, you're going to see that it wasn't for it to be done before. It was for you to do it, to show that it was possible.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, Merv, we kind of touched on some of those tonight in different parts of the conversation. But I would say, back to what I said earlier about being your best self. Yeah. Be yourself, give your best. And, I remember when I was younger, often people used to ask, did you do your best? And it was about do your best. And I just think there's a slight difference there between be your best and doing your best. Because if you are your best, that means you will do your best. So it's not a choice of maybe not being your best and doing your best, you know.
That's good. I like that.
So I would just say stick with that, and everything will work out as it should.
Very good. Very good. If you guys had to give 3 resources you would encourage our audience to get a hold of that will help them along their transformational journey, like what would those resources be?
I would say, because I can see Kenishia thinking, so I'll just jump in. I would say, in terms of resources, I would say the Bible, but I didn't know that earlier in life, right? And so I think everything you need for life is in the Bible. Yeah. In fact, that's where I get my passion now, as I understand it, for vision. And there are key aspects in the Bible that talk to that, you know. So that I would say, and I would say, in that, even if you're not a person of faith, be open to exploring your faith, because God will show you the way. And so having that faith, believing in Jesus, that's obviously the greatest resource that anybody could have. And I would say your mind is your greatest resource. When we were talking about mindsets earlier and the problem that it can cause for you, there's a philosopher called, an Oriental philosopher called Osho. And he says, mind, a beautiful servant, a dangerous master. And I think that, and the Bible even talks to us about be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So I would say your mind is one of your greatest resources, and so grow it. Read. I mentioned that earlier. Watch YouTube videos, TED Talks, that type of thing. Invest time in learning from other people and their experiences.
Very good.
And I'll just add to that to say you also need to invest in a community, especially if you're trying to pursue anything entrepreneurial. It can be very lonely. So you need to find someone, or at least a few key people, who can help you navigate that journey. So community for sure.
Very good. Very good. So if folks want to get in touch with you guys, how do they do that? What would be the best way for them to get in touch with you, whether with Melanie for coaching or with Kenishia to get their finances on track?
Well, I stick with that name, Coaching with Melanie. So I have a website with that name, coachingwithmelanie.com. I'm on Instagram with underscores between each word, coaching_with_Melanie. And I'm also on Facebook.
We are everywhere on the internet. ThrivingDollars exists everywhere. So LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google Plus that no longer exists, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. So it's ThrivingDollars, every single platform. And on the website, it's ThrivingDollars.com. I am on social media, Kenishia Mais, every single platform, KenishiaMais.com.
Very good. As we were talking tonight, and I was hearing you guys' story. Obviously there had to be a journey, and we talked a lot about the journey. How did you know when you had that right idea? How did you know, like, this is it?
I think when you asked your question earlier, like, how do you protect your heart? I think you protect your heart by following what's placed on your heart. And so you will know, because this was something that kept me up at night. When I was doing work, like, I would just be up at night trying to figure out how this potential thing could work. And even when I started it, I had no clue how it could work, but it was on my heart for years.
Yeah, and for me, for a number of years, I had thought that I should be working in the counseling space. I mean, I've shared earlier about my heart as an encourager and a supporter of people. And when I learned that coaching was a profession, and I learned more about it, then I remember having a conversation with a colleague and explaining the differences to the colleague, and he said to me, oh my goodness, you've just given me cold seed, or goosebumps, when is an English version of cold seed, right? And as he said that, it was like a light bulb went off in my mind, and I said, yes, that's it. And from then I started to pursue, what does it take to become a professional coach?
Very good. Well, I want to thank both you, Melanie, as well as Kenishia, for joining us tonight. It was a great show. I trust that our audience was inspired, that they were motivated, and they have keys to step out to bring transformation to their lives. We're out of time. These hours go so quickly, but I want to thank our audience for tuning in and for making Creative Monday Discussion your show on Monday night. We're going to be here again next week, Monday. And actually, we're going to talk about education. The year is almost up, and we've been in the COVID stretch with our kids. And we want to talk about what we've been doing, what's working, what's not working. So if you know parents, teachers, educators, invite them to tune in. We're going to have some amazing guests who will join us and help us unlock or talk about what's been going on and what we can do to improve these times. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, Belize Limited, Coaching with Melanie, the Art Shack, the Mapan YWCA, TNC, Formosa Cave, and Budram Solutions. We want to say God bless you and have a great evening. See you again next week.